It's all it's Alethia's fault. Excuse me, Alethea has a question. Not me. It's her. Trust me. Okay. So anyway, so for the millions of Twitch fans at home, I guess we started this one and never quite finished it. So of course the move is, it's the general rule and something like this is make it so there's no more fractions, right? Fractions complicate things. We are ultimately trying to simplify this down into x equals blah. So, okay, then get rid of the fractions. Okay, multiply both sides by x. Now, x times 1 over x. X times 1. X times x. Now, we hopefully also know that when you encounter something like this, and there's a constant term, there's an x term, there's an x squared term, what do you want to do? Not yet. Get everything on one side, make it equal to 0. And then you say, if only there were some kind of formula that could be used to solve quadratic equations. Wait a second.
Y equals mx plus b.
Exactly, y equals mx plus b. The Pythagorean theorem, right?
Yeah.
Right, AJ? Yes. Yeah. The good old Pythagorean theorem, y equals mx plus b. Okay, so you use the quadratic formula. So I probably have just maybe in your paper, on a note card or something, I wouldn't lose sleep over memorizing it, but I don't know, you use it enough times, it'll just naturally be memorized. When we take a quiz, I'll write it on the board. I don't really care if you memorize it, but. Okay, what's gonna be the value of, so b squared is 1, and then minus 4 times a times c. So what's gonna be under that radical there? 5. So my answer is 1 plus or minus the square root of 5 over 2. Now, you thinky winkies out there, especially hand banana, right, hand banana?
That's right.
Yeah. You're probably wondering, are there really 2 answers? We've done some problems where you get to this step and you have to reject one of the answers. What stage could I look at on here that would give me a nice, solid answer to that question of how many solutions actually are there? Huh?
The first one?
You could. The first one, yeah, you could. We know how to graph 1 over x plus 1. We know how to graph x. I was thinking it might be a little bit easier to graph this because you got a parabola, you graph x squared, and what does 1 plus x look like? Like that. We can see there are 2 solutions, and we found 2 solutions algebraically, so that's an epic gamer poggers moment right there.
Sorry.
PogChamps.
It got banned.
Yeah.
They banned it.
They banned what?
PogChamp.
The emoji?
Yeah.
Twitch banned it?
Yeah.
How?
Because there was a stream yesterday of like the raid on the white or like the Capitol,
Oh.
and everybody was spamming the chat with logs, so now it's tied.
As well as the person, like the person that is pictured in that emote or whatever is like was supporting what they were doing, like saying keep fighting them,
Oh God.
which
Oh no!
isn't taken well.
I didn't know
Okay.
that part.
Yeah.
I wanted to.
Hog raiding the White House.
I wanted to move forward into
Oh, yeah, there's no solution.
a little bit more challenging question. Let's look at like 22C. Has some interesting ideas in there. That was the real story of the day there. PogChamp emoji gets banned from Twitch.
That's
How
when it
will I
went
get
too far.
gifted subs?
That's when it went too far.
Send me gifted subs.
Everything was fine until
Give me bits.
Yeah, send me bits.
A million bits.
Yeah.
$10,000.
In bits.
In bits. 2 bits.
All
1 bit.
right.
Half a bit.
This question says, is there a number out there where basically 1 over 1 less than that number minus 1 over 1 more than that number would make 4 as the answer. Okay, certainly not obvious. If you run through a couple quick checks in your head, you'll realize that it's
We're talking about my brother, sorry.
30.
Wait, that's still not okay, whatever it is.
So sad.
Anyway, is there such a number, or are there two numbers maybe? All right, so here's the trick. Fraction minus a fraction.
22.
I guess you could think of that as a fraction, 4 over 1 if you wanted, but what I was gonna get at is, what would you do if you had something like, I don't know, 4/5 minus 2/3? How you would multiply,
5 by 3 and 3 by 5.
and then if you want to be really precise, you'd say, well, technically what I'm doing is I'm multiplying this number by 1, written in a clever way, right? Because 3 over 3 is just 1. Am I allowed to multiply this by 1 without like changing the answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can multiply things by 1. So this is a quick review of that technique. Then you'd go, okay, 3 times 4 is 12. 2 times 5 is 10. Now they're both 15ths, so the answer to this is 2 15ths. Are there any questions on that process there? A little bit of review for you. Okay. So that's the same idea here. What do you think I'm going to multiply this term by?
X plus 1 over x plus 1.
X plus 1 over x plus 1. How about this term?
X minus 1 over x minus 1.
X minus 1 over x minus 1. All right, cool beans?
Yes.
Okay, so x plus 1 times 1 makes,
X plus 1.
boom. What's x plus 1 times x minus 1? X squared minus 1. How about over here? 1 times x minus 1. There's x squared minus 1. Now you go, oh, yay, we got the same denominator. That, of course, was the purpose of these two red thingies, right? Was to get them to have the same denominator. It still equals 4. Now, quick little, I'm going to reiterate something. People will often go, well, wait a second. You did all this stuff on the left side, and you didn't do anything to the right side. I thought every time you did something to the left side, you had to do it to the right side. Well, that's true if you like say add something to both sides, or if you say double both sides or square root both sides, but all I did was I multiplied this by 1 and I multiplied this by 1. So I didn't actually change anything in the equation. Okay, just wanted to make sure there was no confusion there.
Oh my God,
What?
that's insane. I was just mind blown. That's all.
Moving on. X plus 1. Well, if you were being sincere, then I'm glad that something clicked for you. I'm not sure if you were just messing with me. But anyway. X plus 1 minus x minus 1. So what is going to be left over if you go x plus 1 and then subtract the quantity x minus 1?
2.
2. Very good. How do you feel about that? Because x minus x is nothing, and 1 minus negative 1 is 2. The bottom, of course, is x squared minus 1. Oh, it's all coming together now, right? Now, from here, what do we get?
Give me the fraction.
Yeah, I mean, does it make sense to you if I just do this?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a cross multiplication idea. If not, that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
What I was getting at is I was saying you could basically say I'm multiplying both sides by this quantity here. So kind of like this. Okay, there's the intermediate step, right? Now from here, could I divide both sides by 4? Or could I distribute the 4 into here? Those are both fine. Whatever you want to do. So I'm going to just divide both sides by 4. This is sort of the, I don't know, I think if there's something aesthetically pleasing about these processes, it's just that they just get simpler and simpler and simpler, and you kind of just, does that make sense? The whole process, you're kind of like, oh, at every step, the question's getting easier and easier until the very end, you add a 1 over, and then you get the answer. That's pretty neat, right?
Yeah.
Burrito.
And if you're wondering, I know you guys are all clamoring with the thought of, oh, how do you know there's two solutions? Now this one would be a pretty big pain in the butt to have to like try to graph that. What I would argue is, did we take any step? What kind of steps have we seen that might possibly create extraneous solutions? Squaring both sides is really the big one. Squaring both sides, or maybe dealing with absolute values. But we don't have to do that in this process at all. So there's really nothing we've done at any stage that would ever have possibly introduced an extraneous solution. So we can be pretty confident that those are both valid answers. Cool beanies? Very cool.
Awesome.
Not just cool.
No.
Don't say that.
Let's do one more together. One more. Maybe maybe just 22A, since it's right above it.
Much easier.
Hey, yeah.
It almost happened. They also made a pipe bomb. Yes. And put it in the RNC. I don't know. It happened though, and there's a bomb squad that I didn't lose it.
Julia, you're driving me crazy.
I mean, I think the IRS probably has all of their tax income information already, but.
Probably.
The IRS knows exactly how much you
What,
owe.
did your family commit tax fraud from us?
They're on it, my that probably.
What problem is
But
this?
it's like me being like, oh, I don't want the government to have the information. It's like you work for a public school.
They already have everything. They know what TV shows.
I'm
you
just saying,
watch.
especially if you're going to be their employee, they're really going to know everything. They're going to have all the information they want about you. Like the state knows the county. For me, I
Yeah,
work for the
oh.
county, so like.
This is actually my debate topic, kind of. So the NRA, or not the NSA, that's the name. They know so much about you. If you have cable television, they have the records of what you watch on cable television. They can record everything.
I think it's hilarious, but
My phone tracks my every movement, so
Yes.
it knows when I buy. I just bought some ski boots. They go, hey, do you want to buy another pair of ski boots
Yes.
that are identical to the ones you just bought? And I say, of course. That's what I want. It's an identical pair. Thanks for sending me those
If
advertisements.
you look on Facebook and you look up something, and then next thing you know, it's all over.
Yeah.
Awesome. I can't wait.
It's a good way to find deals. Search for the thing you want to buy, and then for the next week, you're going to have all these ads of like things that are on sale. Okay. Look at this amazing problem here. Wow. Right?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
No.
10 out of 10. Is there a number where if you add that number to 1 over 1 plus that number, you get 5? Let's see. Does such a number exist? What is the step that I'm going to take?
Get rid of the-
This is the no more tears, right? You say, Mr. Fraction, make me cry. So I say, no more tears. No more tears. That's nice. Okay, so x plus 1 multiplied by 1 over x plus 1 makes 1. X plus 1 times x would make
Squared plus X.
cool beans. And over here we get 5 times x, 5 times 1. Now do we look at that and go, do we make the problem easier? Yeah, now no more fractions. We hopefully recognize this as like, once I get everything on one side of the equation, it'll be a nice quadratic, and I can kind of pick how I want to proceed. If I go minus 5x and minus 5x, how many x's are left over? x. And then I've got, just to irritate you guys, I'm going to complete the square in this one. Just because I know how much you guys love it, especially Zane. Right, Zane? Complete the square, gang, for life.
No.
So I'm actually gonna, it makes sense. I'm gonna subtract 1 from both sides. And then say, what would I want, who do I want to live right here?
What are you doing?
What am I doing?
Yeah, you're completing the square, but you don't have to do that. So why would
You
you do
know?
that?
Why don't you? Well, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
But assuming that we are gonna exercise our illusion of free will here, Nikita, that, you know,
That's a nice.
we're gonna go like this. +4 plus.
Oh, God.
What did I just do? That's now x minus 2 squared. And this side's 8.
Why are we doing the quadratic formula?
Because I am completing the square.
Can you do what?
That's a nice two.
For you, Taylor? Yes.
Can you please explain to me why dividing 4 like one more time?
Because
Complete square.
because x squared minus 4x tells me that when I do complete the square, it's going to be x minus 2 squared.
Oh, gotcha.
It's half of 4 is 2, and 2 squared is 4. So anyway, this is my completing the square method. So the answer with completing the square would be that's 2 when I square root. Everyone okay with that? The square root of 8 is 2 root 2.
Yeah.
So look at this number, guys. If this number doesn't make you happy, and I don't know what to tell you.
2 root 2. 2.
2 plus 2 root 2 and 2 minus 2 root 2. Not really. This one, shout out to Taylor. Well, because you got two 1s and then 2 root 2s. There's no real way to. You can maybe factor out the 2 and write it as 2 times the quantity 1 plus root 2, but that doesn't really exist. Ready, Taylor?
I don't think you do.
Yes, you do.
No, I was asking like if it'll be the same.
Let's see. For you chauvinists out there,
Wow.
you quadratic formula chauvinists, of course.
Quadratic formula, let's go.
Hate the quadratic formula.
Well, it's one of my.
If we come back to this, a quadratic formula chauvinist is someone who always wants to use a quadratic formula. They never want to complete the square.
Never.
Never.
Always
I
Yeah,
Only for the.
Well, here, so if I put all the terms on the left-hand side, I would have had this. And let's see what quadratic formula says. It goes 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 minus 4 times 1 times -4 all over 2 times 1. Now to get to there, you have to realize that this here is 16 minus -16, which is 32. And 30, so the square root of 32 is 4 root 2. So 4 plus or minus 4 root 2 over 2. And then do we all see how that's the same as that? Divide them both by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 4 root 2 divided by 2 is 2 root 2. I said 2 a lot of times there.
2. No.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all the examples I wanted to cover for the video today.
Like.